Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special call on the Ordinary Show today. It's February 1st. We're into February. We're into the 2 and the 22 year, and I'm excited about the month of February for so many different reasons. I have a grandchild that's coming. I don't know if you knew that, Emmanuel. He's due any day now. And of course, he'll come in his own divine timing. My birthday's on 2/22 in the year 22, and I'm turning 55. So that's like, I feel an feel like some type of of energy really flowing through for me personally, but I feel it collectively as well. And I'm excited because of the quality of the conversations that we're having and the resonance of the hearts and the intelligence of the guests that we're having on BTO is just on a whole nother level. And it's been awesome and just over the top amazing in the previous seasons. And there's, Emmanuel, you and I were talking about this. There's a refinement that's coming in these conversations, which is also a consciousness that's evolving with each of us individually and collectively that we'll talk a little bit more about later on the show. And again, we get to have Emmanuel Dagher on tonight on a special broadcast. And y'all, it's for everybody on the call today, and we're going to open up to Q&A. Are you open to Q&A today, Emmanuel?
Absolutely. That's my favorite.
Excellent. So we're going to open up to Q&A as well. And tonight we're not doing a special offer. So Emmanuel has a free gift for y'all, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And it's layered in different ways in which you can engage in that free offer. So stay tuned for that. But again, we're going to open up the intimacy and the conversation and flow with the energy today. So welcome everybody to tonight's call. And a lot of y'all, Emmanuel hasn't been on in a little bit, and we have a lot of new people on the platform. So again, if you're not familiar with Emmanuel, let me tell you a little bit more about him. Emmanuel's become widely recognized as one of the new leading voices when it comes to things mind, body, and spirit. And Emmanuel, I have to share personally, again, I think we knew each other. We discovered each other 10 years ago when I started the show. And man, it's like you were always this budding light, just like slowly popping and illuminating and expanding more. And the spiritual, I'll call it maturity and resonance and luminosity that you hold with such grace and peacefulness. It's just what's been born from that field has been so soothing and inspirational for so many people around the world. So it's amazing.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, Emmanuel is also a multi-best-selling author, teacher, and founder of the healing technology, the Core Work Method. And Emmanuel's message of healing, personal transformation, and love is resonating deeply within the heart and mind of those who are on the path of self-realization. Emmanuel, you also had a book out about money that came out a few years ago, and reading into it and talking to other spiritual teachers and leaders about what you wrote, the resonance and how on point you were with that was really impeccable and landing through. And I want you to share, if you don't mind, what was the title of the book again?
So it's Easy Breezy Prosperity. Right. It might change because there's going to be a new edition coming out, but for now it's Easy Breezy Prosperity. And thank you. I'm just so grateful to just receive your love today. You're just amazing. Thank you. And I can feel everyone here today.
Oh, that's wonderful. So a little bit more. So Emmanuel has a background in parapsychology, holistic and alternative healing therapies in combination with his highly developed intuitive healing gifts. Emmanuel developed the Core Work Method and has dedicated his life to being of service in ways that expand, heal, and nourish those who are ready and willing to live their best lives. And with that, Emmanuel, welcome to the show tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your service to humanity. We need it right now, and I'm just so grateful for you.
It's so wonderful. One thing that was here on your bio, Emmanuel, and I'm curious what your perspective is, because you write here that you're really being of service to people who are ready and willing to live their best lives. But for me, it feels like it's happening across the board, whether we're conscious or intentional with it or not.
Mhm.
What's your awareness around that, or what are you noticing?
So basically, I really think that every person that's come into this planet at this time that we are here, we chose it before we came in. On a spirit, on a soul level, we knew that these times were not the easiest of times, but something so much greater is waiting for us. And I do believe that whether we consciously realize it or not, that on a soul level, we understood our mission, and our mission was to really just anchor light, even if we're experiencing challenges, even if we're distracted with the news or whatever it is. Your cells, your molecules, your presence emanates light because you came here, your soul came here at this time to help create a paradigm shift in this third, fourth, fifth dimensional experience. So I think we all co-creatively agreed in this way. And so whether we realize it or not, we are willing, even if consciously we may not appear to be. So you're right.
What would you say to people who may doubt that they're carrying that light, that as they expand and they evolve in their consciousness in a way that really supports them, that they're actually helping to heal others?
Thank you so much. That's
Because a lot
such
of
an
people don't believe they can have the capacity, right?
yes. And I attest that, having worked with so many incredible people from all walks of life, and just kind of seeing the theme that kept coming up, most people are not taught how to feel. And so what happens is when we are living our lives, suppressing our feelings, pushing down our emotions, numbing ourselves, whether it's with food or with alcohol or with drugs or just mindless television or whatever it is, there is a pandemic of not feeling. And I think what happened the past few years, especially with what's going on, it literally hit us in the face because now we understand, oh my gosh, we had time to think and reflect and be, and we kind of got rattled and disrupted from our normal patterns, behaviors, and habits. And this is what we've been waiting for, because now there's potential for us to do something different, something that is more in line with who we truly are at our core, whether it's a job that you've been doing that wasn't feeling in alignment for you, whether it was a relationship that you were in where you were feeling like you couldn't fully be yourself. We really had the opportunity, and we're still in it. We're not finished. We're still in that integration kind of transitional period. And what we're being asked right now is to really get clear on what it is that we truly want, not really focusing on the material specifics, but more of the qualities. What are some of the qualities you want? So if you want lots of money, what is that money going to provide for you? And so you can say security. So security would be a quality. Okay, what else? Freedom. Okay, that's a quality. So how can I embrace those qualities? How can I recognize where they're showing up in my life? And how can I refine a few things so that I can be more embracing these frequencies and qualities? So we really are in a extraordinary time right now where we really get to write what our next chapter is. And if you are doubting yourself because you've been feeling, struggle, you have a story, we all have a story, we've all been through trauma, we've all been through challenges in our lives. If you're stuck to those, ask yourself, what is it that I'm not feeling? What is it that I'm not truly willing to feel right now? What am I trying to suppress? Usually at the core, it's some type of fear, either a fear of loss, fear of, which is also known as fear of dying, fear of making a mistake, fear of, there's so many, but basically at the core, it's fear. And if you let yourself sit with that fear, so in neuroscience, they tell us that if you just sit with something for like at least 90 seconds, if there's an emotion that wants to come up, there's something, and if you just sit with it, like a loving parent would to a little child who's throwing a tantrum, instead of getting angry and going into the story, you can just sit with it and be that nurturing presence to yourself, to your emotions, to your feelings, and they will pass. And then what's underneath that is who you truly are, which is the peace, which is the ease and the grace. So I think it is time right now for us to feel more so that we can allow ourselves to be more in line with who we truly are.
That's beautiful. And it's, again, the exercise of sitting with for 90 seconds. It seems like it's such a short period of time, but we're so self-programmed to self-soothe as quickly as possible that 90 seconds can seem like an eternity, or we think we've done 90 seconds and we've only been at 20 and we're on to the next thing. And that stops the energy of those emotions short in our body. And I believe that that's what causes sickness. That's what causes confusion. That's what causes chaotic energy, because we're not really allowing ourselves to get to know the capacity that we have as we attune to all the energies that we have access to.
And the body is so extraordinary because it is an extension of our spirit. You know, a lot of times we are taught that it's kind of separate than who we really are, but it really is an extension of our source essence. And when we recognize it from that space, we see the intelligence that it has, the feedback system that it has. So if you are having a physical discomfort, all that is it just, maybe there were feelings and emotions that went unnoticed, or they were not being processed and honored and loved. You know, I think instead of running away from, when we step into the discomfort, that's where the gold is. That's one of the things that I'm a strong proponent of, is if you're struggling, if you're in your pain and suffering and all that, rather than try to suppress that, see what opportunity is there, because something is being agitated, something is moving, something is shaking, and that means something amazing wants to happen on the other side of it if we simply just embrace it. And so the core work, which is the modality that I created many years ago, really helps people step by step learn how to feel and connect with those parts of themselves that maybe they've not been really honoring, they've been neglecting a little bit, so that you can love them to such a degree that your body, your mind, your experiences, your finances, all of it will start to heal and be in alignment with what you truly desire, instead of what maybe you thought you wanted. Now you can really go into, why do I want to be happy? Why do I want to be prosperous? Why do I want to be healthy? And take it from that space.
This really brings up for me the energy and the intelligence of what you mentioned came up as far as what we might talk about today on the show, which is freedom. So as you talk about what it is that we really want, I'd love for you to tell me your perspective of what freedom means to you and to the people that you work with, and how we can further attune into the integrity of the definition of our own individual version of that, so that we can be in relationship with it.
So thank you so much for that question. And so there's two components. There's a very practical, pragmatic component that I think it's important to honor. And then we can talk more about a metaphysical perspective. So on the pragmatic perspective, freedom is just knowing that you have the ability to choose. That's it. And so many of us forget that we have the ability to choose, because maybe we're on autopilot. We are sort of in the habits and the behaviors that are not serving us, or just kind of numbing us. And so creating daily disruptors, we can call them, or maybe something that would create more spontaneity in our lives, embracing more of the right side of the brain, which is the spontaneous, creative, spiritual part of us, will really help. Because when we are seeing what we're seeing in the world, and sometimes it can appear as though our rights and freedoms may be taken away, ultimately, nothing can happen without our permission. And although it can really look convincing, when you're in your power and you are doing the work, your inner work, your inner personal growth and healing, nothing can touch you, because you are aligning yourself with your true self, which is love, which is peace. But it can be really challenging when, we're going through a timeline right now where duality is so present, even though those who do the work understand there is no real such thing as duality. It's an illusion. But there is a realm that allows us to go through duality, to learn the lessons, to come back to the truth of who we are. So all of it, even the challenges, even the struggles, even the parts that feel like our freedoms are being taken away, and this and that and all that, all of it is actually happening to help us come back into our power collectively. And as triggering as that might sound sometimes, because we're so invested in the news and we're hearing what this news is saying and what that news is saying, really check in and turn it off and just check in with your intuition. Is it serving you? What would the most loving part of yourself do in that moment? Would it be judgmental? Would it be divisive? Would it be separation oriented? Or would it go for a walk, or spend time in nature, or eat healthy foods, take care of yourself, love people, even if you don't agree with them? So there's opportunities there. I know that when probably about a year ago, so it was about the height of the whole pandemic and everything, people were really trying to get me to have an opinion specifically going one way or the other, like this for that, for that. And because I don't actually, I have a very neutral perspective, but because I didn't, they were upset. So sometimes you have to understand that people have their own journey. They're allowed to be upset. Sometimes just you showing up is going to trigger that for them. But at the end of the day, as long as you're being your true self and being authentic to you and not kind of going with what everybody else is doing, then at the end of the day, you're really going to be grateful for that, because things are always cyclical. And we're already starting to see now people are wanting positivity. I mean, for a minute there, positivity was triggering people. It was just not something people wanted. And I try to be as positive as I can. And that's something that I really, that's in all my work, but some people didn't like it, and that's okay. So our job is to just, as free beings, is to first and foremost let others be themselves, not try to control them, not try to make them do what we think they should. But at the end of the day, understand that freedom is just knowing that you have the ability to choose. And that's it.
That's beautiful. And again, the awareness of that, and again, staying in our sovereign space, and being in our truth and acting according to that truth. It's golden, and it can be challenging. And we have societal pulls, we have relational pulls that want to pull in certain directions. But again, just breathing into it. And again, even attuning for 90 seconds when you feel conflicted, or when you feel it's like I'm losing myself in this relational transaction or in this interaction, and what's true for me. Again, it releases so much of the confusion and the burden of responsibility. And again, the judgment that comes from having to be a certain way gets eliminated as we feel ourselves more and more in that center. One thing that we were talking before we came on live is this place of this refinement that so many seem to be experiencing from my vantage point. Um, and you had mentioned, and I so agree, and I love the way you talk about it, that it seems like there's a lot of going inward, and there's a lot of going inward, but also with the wanting and desire of forward momentum of being creative or outward in the expression, and it's been contradicting, but the inward has really been leading. And I'd love it if you can share more about what you've been seeing in your own personal life with that and with your clients, and where that's leading us.
Yes. So everything is feedback. So even what we're seeing in the world right now, everything is just feedback. And the work is simply to ask yourself, how do you feel about it? So let's say there's something in your life. It could be something personal, like at work, or it could be a relationship, or it could be something, a humanitarian cause. And the first question really is, how do I feel about that? So let's do that right now. Let's just be in an experiential process together. So I want you to close your eyes, and I just want you to think about something recently that was on your mind. It could have been something you heard, something that you may have noticed. It could have been just a thought that came up. It could be something as simple as, it's the beginning of the month and you have bills to pay. So just see whatever it is. It could be something that you saw on the news that really brought something up for you and it made you feel a little bit in a certain way. Whatever it is, I want you to just really think about that for a moment. And just ask yourself, how do I feel about that? See, the thing is, if we simply start doing this one little process, we usually ask how others are doing, but do we ask ourselves how we're doing? Do we check in on ourselves? How are you doing? Just that little shift can now start to bring you closer to yourself. So once you ask yourself that question, how are you feeling? See what feelings come up. What are some of the emotions and sensations and feelings that are coming into your awareness? So let's use that example of having to pay bills and money is tight and you're feeling a little anxious about it. Where do you feel that in your body? So now what we're doing is we're literally using your body, your mind, your spirit together as one. We're allowing them to work harmoniously together by allowing them all to be acknowledged. So when you ask yourself how you're doing, you're checking in on your emotional body. You're seeing what needs to be addressed because your mind has a lot to say and it wants to be acknowledged. So when you check in that way, you're acknowledging yourself. And so from this space, then you see, where am I holding this energy in my body? So for me, when I feel anxious or I feel anything of discomfort, I usually feel it in my stomach, a little bit in the higher stomach area. So for you, it could be your jaw. Sometimes some people get migraines in their head or their neck gets a little tight, their shoulders. So just scan your body. See, this is you actually stepping into the feeling instead of running away from it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to decipher where you're holding that discomfort. And this discomfort could have been something that has been with you for a lifetime. It could be something that's just happening now. So just acknowledge where that is. Here we go. After asking yourself how you feel, and you could feel really good right now, by the way, and that's great. And you check in, where do I feel that? Okay, I feel a little peace, that's great. But sometimes if we're not doing the inner work and we ask ourselves how we're doing, it's not going to feel great. And if you're not feeling happy and go lucky right now, we want to honor that. And this is what it means to love ourselves. It doesn't mean just going and buying ourselves something, or, eating a piece of chocolate, although that's wonderful. And it is a way of loving ourselves, because if we do it with intention. But loving yourself means that you're willing to sit with all of you, including the parts that don't always feel so good. Because the not feeling so good is actually just your body and mind's way of saying, hey, can you look at me? Can you pay attention to me? I need your love. I need your attention. That's all that it is. And if we are having some type of physical ailment or whatever it is, it's just a version of that. It's just a version of that. So instead of freaking out and, honor the freak out, be in that space. How do I feel about it? That's the first question. And then you just sit with it. So we're going to sit with that for 90 seconds now. So in neuroscience, it takes about 90 seconds for a specific emotional reaction to pass. And if we allow ourselves to feel it and be with it, instead of fight it or try to push it down, it's going to feel acknowledged, and it's not going to try to get louder and louder to get our attention. So let's just sit with that for a moment. And your mind may want to wander and, oh, this is not for me, or, oh, what am I going to eat for dinner, or whatever it is. Thank your mind, because your mind's just doing that to try to protect you, because it doesn't like things to change. It needs things to be the same. And just gently come back to the physical place in your body that you're holding any discomfort around what you were feeling earlier. So let's do that. And the more you focus on that part of your body, you'll start to notice, maybe after 90 seconds, sometimes it takes a few cycles of the 90 seconds, you may start to notice almost like a release, or for some people, it actually moves. So you may notice, okay, it was in your stomach, now it's gone to your hips or wherever it is. So just follow that feeling until you notice a softening, a release, a relaxation in that part of your body. That's your body just acknowledging that it has been seen by you. Your body speaks, it communicates, and all it wants is for you to listen and notice and honor it. And that's what we're doing right now. So let's take a deep breath in and release. And just place your hand on the area of your body that you were feeling a little bit of discomfort. And through the energy of your hands, just express deep love, contentment, gratitude towards that part of your body for speaking to you. This is an important piece. When you express gratitude and love towards your body for just speaking to you, even if it's in a way that wasn't the most comfortable, it will heal even more. It will feel more seen and acknowledged by you. It will operate at its highest, most pristine state because you're paying attention. Now imagine what would have happened if we were taught this from, pre-K, from kindergarten, like imagine what would have happened, how we would have navigated the world. So I want you to tap into that feeling, because you get to rewrite and shift all of those timelines where maybe you thought that your suffering went in vain, and your struggles and your hardships and people did this to you and this happened to you and all that. It all happened because it was trying to make you show up for yourself in the way you're doing right now. as trivial, as silly as it may sound, and as easy as no, it can't be that easy. It is. All of your struggles brought you to ask if there's another way than the ways that were happening prior. You just watching something like this or listening to things that are empowering to you, that's you coming back to yourself. So just breathe that in and just express deep gratitude for your body, for your mind, because when you asked it how it was feeling, and just be aware that you created this for yourself. You made this happen. You did this. And so, what I would invite you, once you have that release, that relaxation, I like to journal. Some people like to go for walks. Some people meditate, whatever feels good to you. But do something that makes you feel good. It could be something that, watching something that makes you really happy or whatnot, because now you're being intentional. I'm choosing to create from this space of peace. What would the most loving part of me want for myself right now? Because you just gave yourself love and nourishment and healing. Maybe it's eating a good, healthy meal. Maybe it's calling a good friend that always makes you light up. See how you feel over the coming days. Try this for the next few weeks. And please let John and I know, because I would love to hear your experiences with this process.
What a beautiful, grounded, and expansive process, Emmanuel. Thank you for that. And that takes me into, again, the refinement aspect, the refinement that happens, the attunement that's occurring, and again, the pristine energy that happens through that intimacy when it shows up in truth. And the alchemy in which you shared it, really being with the gratitude and from gratitude, creating. It's talking about being a resonant match for that freedom that you truly search for. It's so beautiful. Y'all, it's you. Yes, prac process. Maybe we can even cut it out and send it out in the replay, or send it on the email so y'all watch for the email, and we'll cut out the audio of this so you can come back to it as well, which is wonderful. Great process, Emmanuel. And you also have a couple of other free gifts for the know. And while Emmanuel's doing that, if anybody wants to get on live and ask Emmanuel a question, raise your hand or type your question into the chat box, and I'm going to start promoting some of y'all to panelists. As Emmanuel shares what he has in store for you that you can interact with after the call today as well.
Thank you, brother. So everything that I do, all the work is very intentional to remind you that you can do it yourself. So it's all about empowering you to heal yourself. I know sometimes it's nice to have someone do things for us. And for that reason, I'm also here to support you in that way with these free gifts. But at the same time, I want you to listen to them and understand that they are all intended for you to be the greatest healer of your life. So with that being said, if you go to my website, emmanueldagher.com, basically on the homepage, there is a free gift package. It includes the worry wash. So the worry wash is really it's about an hour long. It's an audio, and it's something that helps you peel layers off of some of the most common patterns, habits, and sort of ways of being that have kept you in worry. Worry is not serving anyone. A lot of people mistake love for worry, right? Like we've been taught that in order to love, you have to worry. And it couldn't be further from that. So that session really unwinds and untangles a lot of those misconceptions around being kind of like in the energy of worry, so you can free yourself to be happy and healthy and vibrant. Worry, if not honored and moved through and processed, it actually get stuck in your body. So we want to not do that. We want to be healthy, and processing through it is going to be very effective. So that's the first session. The second one is called Divine Alchemy. It's really about connecting to your true essence, your core essence, alchemizing density into light. So density meaning things that are not in alignment with your true self. And then the third session is called The Healing, which is basically just a way to teach you how to heal yourself and really empower you to know that you are your greatest healer. I think there's also a PDF that helps you move through fear. I don't think I listed it on the website, but there's a PDF step-by-step, I believe, that helps you honor the fear that you might be feeling and then move through it. And then you can kind of refer back to it anytime you need. And that's at emmanueldagher.com. So, yeah. Oh,
Wonderful.
I see a lot of people.
A lot of people are coming up. Yes, and we'll start calling y'all in just a second. But I have a personal question, so I'm gonna take advantage of the time. So when we were doing that process, Emmanuel, I used to tend to hold a lot of tension and discomfort in my stomach ever since I was little, and led to just severe issues growing up, and they dissipated tremendously over the years. And it's rare for it to come up. But when something big would come up, it'd be my stomach and my solar plexus that would really it doesn't feel so great. In this process, it went from initially in my solar plexus, but then it actually got into a spinning around my head. And so it's like the energy was moving, and it was moving like into like this tornado type of vortex, like it couldn't quite ground in, like confusion, not knowing, being pulled in different directions. And that was so new to notice that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you do the work, brother. So what you were doing was you were creating a vortex of healing for yourself. One thing that I notice with when I'm witnessing, we never say we do the healing, we witness it for someone to heal themselves. I also sometimes have that spinning thing that happens like around here. So I would say that if it is not comfortable, I would ground in a way by focusing underneath your feet. If it feels a little bit like loopy, not present, just bring that connection of crown and feet, because what happens is you will start to ground back into your body. Sometimes when we're not, maybe it could have been that we hadn't eaten or something, and we start to kind of like get out of our body. So that's something that might help if it's concerning. But otherwise, I love that feeling because it's like, ooh, yay.
And that great awareness from both perspectives, both from the healing and both from an asking to ground in, to be embodied in it, rather than, it almost felt like a way that I used to use to escape. And again, just bringing it back in, it's like noticing. And so the escape hatch doesn't become conscious like way after the escape's already happened. So again, I've checked out, I've kind of done the human thing for a while, and I feel comfortable enough to kind of come back in again. And how many of us have done that throughout the years, especially during spiritual work? We're really good at checking out of our bodies when something happens, but to catch it before it finds the exit, with it, and to love it and to thank it for its wisdom. So beautiful process.
There are some points on your body that you can, so in your ears, there's some points that can really help with that. If you just kind of rub kind of like above, not the inside, but like above that. There's points there. There's also on your stomach. If you take your two fingers and kind of just in the belly button, kind of just push down, not too hard, but just push. You push, and then tap probably a good maybe 60 seconds, but not too aggressively. That can also really help as well. Just bring you back into your body.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Thank you. And hopefully that's useful to you all as well. And with that, let's open up to live callers. So Patricia, let's start with you. Welcome to the show. Oh, and Patricia, if you don't mind, find your unmute button and press that for us. And anyone that I call on, if you can be aware of where your mute button is, it'd be wonderful. So we can just go straight into your question.
I think I've done that now, John. Thank you.
You have. Welcome. Yeah.
Good evening, Emmanuel and John. Thank you very much for this presentation. I've had a couple of people tell me that I have, and I've had for a long time now, for years actually, I've had like something in my throat, problems with my throat. I get laryngitis sometimes. Sometimes it's just a constant cough. And it's been, I've been told that maybe my chakra is blocked there, or I need to use my voice for something. So, but the thing is, like, how do I know what it is I'm supposed to be saying and to whom, to unblock this problem? And I know I just went through the practice that you just did, and I appreciate any kind of help in regards to what else I can do.
Thank you so much for that question. So the first question really is to ask yourself, how do you feel about it? So what are the feelings and emotions? Are you frustrated? Do you feel like you really can't speak your truth? Do you feel like maybe having been on this journey of having this thing has helped you speak more of your truth? Like, how do you feel about it?
Well, I tend to be pretty open. I tend to be like a talk when maybe people are not really wanting to hear that right now, but I still tend to talk about it anyway. I don't know. So this is why I'm wondering, is there someone specific that I'm supposed to be talking to or saying something to that I just can't figure out what that is?
So one thing that I want to make sure is sometimes when other people share their perspective, it can kind of move us off kilter. It kind of makes us feel a little out of balance because we believed something they said without even realizing it. It like really sank deeply. So that's why I always ask myself, when someone has an opinion or something that, maybe I didn't ask, or they're like telling me something about myself that maybe that I didn't even ask for, I'll say, oh, how do I feel about that? Okay, does that feel expansive, or is there like a part of me that wants to like go into fear or like worry or stress about it? And usually if it's something that makes me feel stressed or like kind of closing up a little bit, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, here's my power, here you go, I know that it's not for me, it's not true. But if it feels expansive and like a yes, so you do know the answer, my friend, and the answer is, how do you feel about it? How did you feel before this whole thing happened? Did you feel like you could speak your truth? Did you feel like, or did you feel like there was things that you were still tippy-toeing around?
I guess it depends on who I'm talking to.
All right. So that's your feedback. So the feedback is that you adjust to depending who you speak to. And maybe that's your opportunity there to say, ooh, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I would like to actually be my true, authentic self all the time. So maybe it's still happening a little bit so that you can show up for yourself. You don't need anybody else to do, like, it doesn't have anything to do with needing to talk to someone else or getting a healer or whatever. It has to do with you just showing up for yourself just a little bit more. I know you've been doing it, but I think if we can just bring your power back to yourself, then you won't be on that endless search that will eventually, hopefully, bring you back to yourself. Hopefully, I saved you a lot of time and you can just now really show up for yourself in a different way. Does that feel more expansive to you?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Good. So I want you to just actually check in with your throat area. Just kind of feel into it. Do you feel like there's something that's not feeling comfortable there right now, or do you feel like it's okay?
Almost okay.
All right. So
It's
let's
like a little bit of a frog still there. A
so
little bit
let's
of hoarseness. Yeah.
perfect. Let's focus on that frog. Let's just focus on it. And again, if you're listening and it's some other part of your body or something else for you, please go ahead and make it tailored to you. So we're just going to focus on our throat. And we're just going to see if there's any part of you that gave your power away, any part of you that kind of started to second guess yourself, or maybe looking outside of you for some type of something. Can we just ask your I am presence, your source self, to show your mind other options that would be much more expansive to you? Would you like that?
I'm not very good at connecting. I've been doing all these courses trying to connect with my soul body, my guides, my higher self, and like I'm pretty much drawing a blank in in those areas.
Okay.
I'm trying my best, but I haven't been getting very far.
So what if you don't have to do anything? What if you don't have to try? What if it's just learning how to be? Because trying is a very doing energy, and it's like exerting a lot of energy, and it's kind of like pushing, pulling, which is what most of us do in relationships and everything else. So what if you didn't have to do that with yourself? What if you could just be that loving, kind, compassionate, understanding self to even the parts of you that are not, to the parts of you that may be in judgment of self? Maybe, what if you can just tap into that part of you that's just that loving presence? Like, have you ever had children, or have you ever had a pet?
Oh, yes.
You know that unconditional love that you feel for them? What if that's all that's being asked of you from yourself? Like, what if that's all? And those experiences happen to give you a reference point to do that for yourself. Like your children showed up in this world to teach you how to love yourself.
But how do you tell then if, like doing a course, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing to help myself? Like, how do you?
Yes. So if it's, you're right. And if you're saying that it's not working, it's not feeling like it's clicking yet and all that, what if you can do those courses from the space that this is me intentionally choosing to show up for myself. This is me choosing to listen and feel, oh, is this empowering me or disempowering me? Because there's a lot of teachings out there that are very disempowering. I don't know if you've been around some of them, but they just keep you looking for the Galactic Federation of Light, and they keep you, and great, it's fine. Like, it's fun, it's entertaining. But what if you can actually do that for yourself? Like, most people have a challenge taking responsibility, because it's like, oh, it can't be that easy. It's not fun. It's not as exciting. It's not entertaining. But really, what if all of that, including some of that stuff that can keep us on the search, is trying to bring you back to yourself eventually? And what we can do now is go directly to the source, you, so that you can really say, oh, I want to love my body. I want to love the parts of me that are frustrated, sad, angry, feels like she can't have this open channel in my throat. Maybe the belief that you can't connect to your spirit. The thing is, the fact that you're here means that you're connected to your spirit. The fact that you're even open and listening and being part of this kind of thing, that's what it means. So even though your mind doesn't feel it, all that's being asked of you then is, oh, how can I teach my mind how to feel love for me? Because that's what ultimately you're saying by, I want to feel my spirit. I want to feel my connected to the universe. I want to feel love for myself. So can we just bring in energetically what that would mean for you specifically? Because it's different for everyone. Would you like that?
Sure, indeed.
Okay. So go ahead and close your eyes and just focus on that part of your body that was feeling like there was still a little bit of a frog, a little bit of a block. And we're just going to be that loving grandmother, mother, loving wise oak tree, whatever you feel when you think of that unconditional love. I want you to just be that presence for that part of your body right now. Just almost like putting your hand on someone's shoulder and letting them know it's going to be okay. You don't need to figure anything else out. All that's asked of you is to just be that that loving space for yourself. Just take a deep breath in and release. So you would sit with that for at least 90 seconds. And then you would do it again and again until you feel a release, a peace. So just let me know when you start noticing a little more ease in that part of your body, a little more acknowledgement.
Yeah, I can feel a little relaxing, a little, yeah.
And wouldn't you know that the part of you that believed that you couldn't connect with actually, and that you've been doing, studying, actually brought you to this point? Like they're blessings, though those part of you are actually assets now, because you're not just believing them and buying into them, you're bringing them into the healing so that you can be like, oh, I love you. I know you were just wanting love from me. So any of those things those stories that were reinforcing disconnect, we're actually trying to get your attention to connect. Isn't that interesting? How are you feeling? Do you feel better?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Thank you for that.
I'll keep
That was
working on
awesome.
it. I'll keep working on that. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
I don't want
Thank
to
you.
take up any more of your time. I'm sure there's lots of people with questions.
You're not taking up time. This
You're
is
not.
perfect. And we're all being served by it, Patricia.
Yes.
So do me a favor, Patricia. Can you just take a deep breath and relax into how much you're helping all of us as well? Yeah, there you go. You're breathing now. Thank you. Beautiful. And thank you. And I want to point out, since you're on the hot seat, what I noticed, Patricia, just through a lot of loving awareness and so that you can be aware and compassionate for these parts of you that are very strong and that want to make sure that you're taken care of. So Emmanuel asks you some very specific questions and you're so heart-based, you're so much love, but something of you that the litigator in you went to your mind. How do you feel? Open. Well, is open a feeling? It's like, hold on a second, let me be present and answer the question from my heart, not from my mind. Would you be willing to receive this? But I'm not open to receive these other teachers and these other things. Like, yes, I want to show up for me. If it feels like love, I'm open to receive. And relaxing into that. So whenever you feel the litigator coming up, go, you're really smart and thank you. And we're going to get the heart back in line because it's got wisdom to share as well. And as you relax into that and you got into your heart as Emmanuel was leading you in, then it's like, whoa, it just opened up and there you were. It's like, okay, I can feel something. And so you were so beautiful leading that, Emmanuel, in with such presence and compassion Emmanuel did it so beautifully without making you feel like you were doing something wrong, which you weren't.
No, it's all part of the healing. Yeah.
Right.
The resistance is part of the healing. Yeah.
Right. And so again, compassion, touching the litigator, hugging it. The one that gets thrown off by other people's energies because, well, what if they're right and I'm wrong? What if you're right all the time, Patricia? Not really. Like breathe into that. What if you're right all the time? What if you can't screw it up no matter what? That's what love is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what love is. So thank you so much for being on here and sharing. And
I'm
loving.
Thank you very much for your help, both of you.
Yeah, thank you. So wonderful. All right, let's go to Biarina. Let's open the panel for you. Welcome.
Hi, thanks, John. Emmanuel, I just want to say I've been watching your videos for years and I just love your energy and your spirit. So I'm so happy I get to be with you in this moment.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know, the last few years, I just feel like I tumbled into this, lost my power, lost my belief in myself. Just struggling, trying to get back to that. I just feel like a lot of experiences in my past and just kind of taken away, like my power, my belief in myself. And why I'm here. So that's it. If there's any guidance or
Yeah. Where are you feeling that, my friend? Where are you feeling that right now?
like my chest, like my heart and solar plexus.
Okay.
And,
So can we just so lovingly and gently be that safe cocoon for your heart right now, letting it know that it's safe to feel what you're feeling? Can we just be that space for that? Would you like that?
yeah.
So I want you to go ahead and place your hands over your heart if you can. And just breathe in. And as you exhale, just know that this feeling that you're feeling, all that it is just feedback to let you know that you are needed. Something wants your attention, something needs you. And all we're doing by feeling it is just holding that space of acknowledgement. I see you, I hear you. So I may not know exactly what I need to do right now, but I'm here to show up for you. So let's just be that loving presence right now for any discomfort that you're feeling in the heart. Here we go. Any part of you that gave your power away unknowingly, or maybe you just sort of gave it away because, we're all kind of taught to do that anyway. Can we just honor all of that? Any feeling that you have about that, any emotion that you have about that, can we just honor those now by simply acknowledging them in your body? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Good. Any part of you that believed that it would be safer to give your power away, and I know rationally it probably doesn't make sense, but on some level, any part of you that was a people pleaser or needed approval or was abandoned in any time, maybe this lifetime or past lives, any part of you that was using those loops to feel safe, so giving your power away, giving your kindness and love and sharing and giving everything away, which is a good thing, but doing it from a way that was maybe depleting you. Can we just show you all the lessons you were meant to learn from that? Wherever you experience that in this lifetime or past lives, can we just honor those experiences, learn the lessons so you don't have to keep repeating those patterns? Would you like that?
Yeah.
Good. Take a deep breath in. And release. Any part of you that got frustrated with yourself for knowingly or unknowingly giving your power away, any self-judgment, self-sabotage, can we just show you what really was happening from a panoramic view instead of what the mind thought was happening? Would you like that?
Yes.
So all of that was just asking you to love yourself more, to show up for yourself more. So any of those things that we do, sometimes self-judgment, all that is actually a call to love ourselves. So now all of the pain and all of the suffering that maybe we went through and we didn't really honor and sit with long enough so that it could actually tell us that, oh, we just need your love and attention. So any of that now becomes an asset to you. It's no longer hindering you. So you are powerful because you understood that it all mattered. all of it, even the experiences of you giving your power away mattered, were actually part of a greater experience for you to come back to your power so that you can know what it's like when you have that contrast, because maybe you wouldn't have known otherwise. You know, some people on a soul level choose to go through immeasurable physical, emotional, mental pain and suffering in this life because on some level, as crazy as it sounds, their spirit knew they could handle it. And their job is to alchemize that density. And usually I've found is that most empaths, sensitives, healers, light workers, whatever you want to call, are the ones that choose that, because even though it's really hard, they have the capacity for it. So to me, I know that you're a healer. I know that you are someone who loves people and is always the rock and wants to help people and be of service. And that is who you are. But we got to do that for yourself. And nobody teaches us how to do that. So your tears are actually you asking for yourself, you asking for your love from yourself. So can we show you how to just grant yourself that love, that joy, that compassion, that support, that healing, that nourishment, even during the challenging times, so that you can really feel connected again? Would you like that?
Yes.
How does that feel to know that it's just you that you were wanting? It was just you, yourself. You were just wanting you. Does that feel more empowering?
Yes.
Good. If there's any judgments about it, thank the mind. We love the mind because, you know, the mind just wants to keep things the same and protect itself. So let's bring it into this moment here and just let it know wherever you're feeling that discomfort. So it might have moved from the heart. It could be in the stomach. It could be wherever else. Let's just scan the body, see where you're feeling it.
It's in my head now because I feel like I just trigger people. Just like I walk in a room and I can just trigger someone. I don't know what.
Can we change that to activate?
Hmm.
Can we change that word trigger to activate?
Yeah, so it's not a negative thing on me.
And can we actually use that as an awareness, since you already are aware of it, that it's a blessing, not just for you, but for them? Okay. Any resistance that might happen around that, we're just going to honor that. We're going to thank it and just really let you know that your presence, your goddess presence, is going to activate some people. But it's a good thing because they will, by you being yourself, you're giving them permission to be themselves. And sometimes it's not going to feel easy at first, but eventually they will get it. If they're meant to, you know, if you're meant to be in each other's lives, they will get it. So can we show you how to trust that, how to trust your process, that you being yourself is enough and you don't have to do anything else except just be you? Would you like that?
Yes.
So what would happen if you could just be that cheerleader for yourself, to know that whenever you're in a room and you trigger people or you activate people, that it's perfect. Like that's what needs to happen. What would happen if that was now your intention moving forward?
I wouldn't take it personally. I would just like be a space for that. Like maybe send a blessing and help to, process them better, faster, or whatever they need in that integration.
Good. So can we be willing to move in this direction? Because the fact that you're acknowledging it, it means you're already willing. Would you like that?
Yes.
Good. How does that feel?
Better.
Good. How do you feel towards yourself right now? How do you feel towards yourself?
Better. Have an understanding. It's like maybe my inner child didn't understand at the time, I feel like it's been integrated, like she's with me now. Like I feel like it's like a joy, a lightness, like something playful-ish wanting to start to move, because
So from one people pleaser to probably another, it's one of the most challenging things in life. It really is, to not take things personally, especially when all you want to do is just be a loving presence, right? It's so hard. And I think our lesson with that is to just love without creating those attachments that have us create those codependencies, that have us create all that gray area, which is not really serving anybody. So ultimately, how can we love without needing to fix, needing to change, needing to make things happen in a different way, or without taking things personally? How can we do that? Can we have our I am presence show the mind how to be willing to move in that direction and what it will take to do that? Would you like that?
Yes.
And you
I
know the
also-
answer. You know the answer. The answer is what you're doing for yourself. So when you're feeling triggered, what are you not giving to yourself? When you're feeling sad, or how can I show up for myself more? Because if we rely on it from somebody else, we're going to be disappointed nonstop all the time. It could be the most loving person in our lives. It's not going to ever feel enough. It's you who you want. Doesn't that feel different to you?
Mhm. Yes. So I also find that I have this fear of putting myself out there as a healer, because I've been slammed a few times and I don't want to go back to that. And so I'm very sensitive. So maybe if there's something that we can do with that, that would be amazing.
I hope you heard when I said you were a healer earlier, right? Did you hear
Yeah.
that?
Oh, I know.
How did you feel when I said that? Did that feel true to you? Does it feel
Yes.
true?
Yes. I've
Okay.
always known that.
So what I want to share with you, and this is something that my grandma taught me early on, is you're doing us, you're not honoring us by fully honoring your gift as a healer. If you don't honor it, sorry, if you're holding back, if you're in your head, if you're actually dishonoring us, because we need that from you. We need you to be the healer that you were meant to be. So all your clients, all of the people that you're going to meet, all of them, you have an agreement together to connect, and they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you. And it may not make sense to the mind because, oh, how am I going to make this happen? But our job is to show up for ourselves enough to just move out of the way, to let what needs to happen happen. So it's going to be the greatest honor for us as your clients, as the people that are going to benefit from your work, for you to step into your gift. By you not stepping into it, you're kind of like dishonoring us. You know what I mean? Are you ready? Are you ready to step into honoring us? Because I know you love honoring people. Like, are you ready to honor us by honoring your gifts?
Yes.
Good.
New
I see
year.
that smile. I see that
This is
smile.
the new year. So
I
yes.
see it. Keep us posted.
Beautiful. Pierina, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I love your name.
Yeah, she has an awesome name. It goes with how awesome she is as well. It's really interesting as we talked about triggering other people and really activating it, which is the way I see it as well. Because I had an experience about 3-4 months ago. I was invited to stay in this house. I was a caregiver at this house, and I had been there before, and it was a very cordial experience. He kind of got a little testy a couple of times, and I knew it wasn't me. I wasn't being sugarcane nice, like overly sweet, trying to get anything. I was just being me, going about my thing as a guest in a house, and including him for dinner is another thing, as a manner to be polite, but not trying to get anything, just really being and flowing. And then one day he just exploded, and he threatened violence and did all these other things. And it got to the point where the owner of the house had to let the caretaker go because he can't be that way. And when I expressed them, it's like, this is what happened. This is what transpired. I want you to know, because this is someone who's welcoming people into your house while you're not there. And this is kind of the energy it's exuding. You should be aware. I don't expect you to do anything. Well, she called him and he's like, what happened? She's like, what happened? It's like, well, I don't like him. I don't trust that guy. It's like, oh, interesting. It's like, well, why don't you like him or trust him? He goes, and this is the wise part of him that was really coming through, the part that was getting activated, speaking into the truth. He scares me. He scares me. When you're being your true self, when you're carrying that energy of a potential that you're inviting people into just in your being, that awakening can scare people from being who they are. They may not want to change. There's a resistance to it and all that. And I can't take it personally. And I've decided not to. And I understand because I'm so aware of what my intention is. And I'm holding, and I'm willing to own where I may stumble in a relational dynamic and say, I can't believe I showed up. I apologize this or apologize that, or I'm aware that this happened. But because of the coming back into a congruent energy that feels in alignment and refined with an understanding of compassion and love, and very consistent standards, not boundaries, but standards of interacting, that the doubts of who I be doesn't come through. And if it does, it has that ability to refine and relate. And so it's wonderful. Again, he was afraid. And again, his spirit, his soul is the one that said that. I know that for a fact. He had nothing to be afraid of. He was afraid of himself. And we activate people into seeing those parts of themselves that they just haven't been presented with before.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for showing up for yourself in the way that you did, because, life throws things at us like that to show us, oh, you could have bought into it, but you chose not to. You really, that's you loving yourself. And it takes work to do that because, it's a process. It doesn't happen all the time that easily. So thank you for loving yourself.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And I received so many gifts from that. While at the same time, it was triggering in certain aspects of me who witnessed the type of violence and aggression and other things from male when I was growing up. And so I got to hold that aspect of me that held that deep-seated worry and fear and doubt and confusion around the judgment simultaneously, but attuning into what I can carry now, not getting lost in the energy of what I couldn't carry when I was a little one. How could I? I was learning to prove it. And so it's really so multi-dimensional in the way, but remembering who we are now and our capacity to remember that, not who we used to be, even who you were last week. No, who am I today? And it's beautiful what runs through. Bielina, thank you for sharing so vulnerably, and Emmanuel just masterfully guiding through that. As we're winding down on a call today, and the link for Emmanuel's free gift is in the chat box. April, if you wouldn't mind typing it in again. And there's another offer that Emmanuel has coming up for Valentine's Day. Before we get into that, Emmanuel, and just to wind up tonight's call, I'm really curious as to what you're excited about for 2022.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm just so grateful for all of you. This was amazing. Thank you for sharing so openly to everyone who just stepped up for all of us today. What I'm excited about is the opportunity to see people step up in a way for themselves. And we're seeing it all over the world. We're seeing, things are just really, things that once were working are no longer working. And I think it's going to be so palpable, so real, even though nothing really is, but so real that we're going to it can't help but say, oh my gosh, things are getting better. It doesn't come easy, but I'm very excited about where we're going as a human family, and all of the technology that's going to support us in taking care of Mother Earth and each other. I'm very excited about that. But ultimately, I'm excited that people are waking up.
Left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel such a great inclination for people.
Mm-hmm.
Siphon is opening for more people to be curious about it and interact with what else is possible as we get to know ourselves more intimately. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So y'all, the replay of tonight's call, we'll send that in the email link. You can always access replays by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replay. And then Emmanuel, as we finish tonight's call, tell everybody about the opportunity to work with you for this Valentine's class or webinar that you're putting together.
Thank you, brother. So basically, I felt guided at the beginning of the year to start offering like little Zoom retreats, basically via donation. So it's not something, if it's like $1 or whatever, it's fine. For me, it's just more about that exchange of energy. And this one coming up on February 13th, which will be Sunday, will be about your greatest love. And we're going to go through a process that is going to honor all of you, kind of a little bit. You saw a little previews of that today. But there are 4 aspects of your brain. Most people think there's 2. And we're going to cover those 4 aspects in such a way where you can actually bring them all together and have them work together in a way that you love yourself by the time we're complete. You are going to feel, some people already feel that, but some people, they may not feel like really how they know how to love themselves. So your greatest love is when you love yourself, you're going to be more open to the love of your current partner. You're going to be more open to inviting somebody into your life who's going to mirror that love that you have for yourself back to you. So it could be a romantic partner, it could be, a friend or whatnot. So your greatest love, I'm so excited about it. It's all coming through energetically. I'm just really thrilled. And that is actually going to be at my website as well. If you just go to the events page, you'll see it there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that and sharing it so generously. And thank you for being on the call tonight and just sharing these processes and attuning us to, again, that grace. And it's not something that you typically hear from a man, but why does it have to be a feminine or masculine trait? Why can't it just be what is and what's true and what's guiding? And so the grace that you brought in tonight's wisdom and the transmissions were beautiful. And I want to thank you for being such a beautiful example of what's possible with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And all of you, thank you so much for sharing, for being open, for your love, for your determination, for your hell yes, for playing, for crying, for laughing, for saying yes, for saying no, for just all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are amazing. I love you so much, and I look forward to seeing you on our next call. Y'all have a great day.